Hey guys, it's the WaltonFootball.com After Dark Show for July 18, 2024. Going to be breaking down the season win totals for 2024. Now that our season previews have been posted, I can kind of like do a side-by-side comparison of what the win totals are compared to what I have for each team's projected record. So this is something I wanted to do ahead of my trip to Las Vegas, which is tomorrow. I fly out on Thursday night. So I was going to do it anyway. I was just going to do it on Saturday, but then a little news story broke that we talked about on Saturday. As you can see here, I am flying solo tonight. Kenny's usually the co-host on Wednesday, but his house was hit with the electrical storm, and his power is out. He's okay. Just he has no internet or anything like that, so he couldn't come on. So Kenny will be back next week. But yeah, we're just going to run through all the teams and discuss how the win totals compare to my record. So before we get to that, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video. Visit the link in the description for the merch store. As you can see on the screen here, we have a ton of t-shirts. I said yesterday I was going to look into what happened to our apron here. The Butker was right apron. I'm not seeing it. I don't know if it got deleted or something, but you can get all these t-shirts here. They're actually, there's some of these t-shirts are now $16 or $17. I don't know what happened. I'm not like in charge of the price. I just select like what percentage I get. I'm never going to change that. So I guess like it depends on the coupon code. Like right now it's like 25% off. So you can get $16 and $17 shirts that are they're pretty high quality. As Cassandra has said that on here. I've had these shirts. I've worn them for years. I'm actually wearing my Free Gruden t-shirt here. These have lasted for years. So definitely worth it for $16, $17. And most prominently is Gluttony Month, which is in August, coming up soon. So make sure you get your Gluttony t-shirts because gluttony rights are human rights. Is very important to spread that message. Also, we are sponsored mostly by you guys, the super chats, super stickers. I say this all the time. YouTube has paid nothing. It's like 71 cents or something the last time we had a show with those super chats, super stickers. But we've had a lot of them though. It's just you guys have been so awesome. Slew and John Sanders primarily recently. Kevin Kovac also with the super stickers, and Germ DeGeneron. Like you guys have been so awesome with your contributions. So it would be really appreciated if you guys would keep that going. It's really awesome. Just we talk about that all the time. Tom and I, Kenny, and Jacob when he used to do the show. It was like it's so great. Like seeing you guys get really into these shows, and it just makes us more motivated to keep doing it, and just keeps the show going. Because like I said, 71 cents from the YouTube ads is pretty much nothing. Also, you can get my book on Amazon, Jerks of the College Years. If you like Jerks of the Week, you'll like this. I think it's basically my stories from college. I went to Penn State for 6 years. And I ran into a lot of jerks, as you can see on the cover. So that's another way to support the show is to buy the book. Like I said, if you like Jerks of the Week, you'll like this. Kid No Name says, when will the mock draft start? In August. We're going to do mock drafts like all throughout August. We're going to do so many mock drafts. So, as soon as August rolls around, August 1st is, I think, a Thursday. That Thursday night, there's a game. It's the Hall of Fame game. So, probably August 3rd. Actually, probably August 6th is when we're going to start. Actually, that's my birthday. Still do a show on that night. So we'll do we'll kick off the mock draft season on my birthday. It should be fun. We're gonna do we're gonna do a lot, like I said. So like any night in August, we'll be doing fantasy mock drafts. All right, so let's jump into this. I'm gonna go by FanDuel, even though it's annoying because you have to click through every team to see it. I don't know why they do this. It's so stupid. But anyway, I guess there must be a reason. So I looked at this earlier today, and I came up with 4 plays I really like, or I guess 4 plays I love, and then there are 5 plays I really like. And they're all obviously like compared to what I have in the records, as opposed to what the win totals are. So let's begin with Arizona. Their win total is 7.5. I have their season wins at 5, and I was very close to making this something I really like. The problem is, like, I think Arizona is going to be a good team. They're going to be competitive when Kyler Murray is on the field. So my projection of 5 wins is based on Kyler Murray getting injured. And I think that you could probably assume that will happen because he's gotten injured every single season he's been in the NFL. So the question is, like, how much time is he going to miss? Because we know he's going to miss time. If it's 1 or 2 games, I think Arizona could beat this 7.5. I think they can get to 8 or 9 wins. I like their offense a lot. Their defense is going to be very shaky, but their offense looks good. Like, their offensive line's built pretty well. Now they have Marvin Harrison Jr., James Conner looked great at the end of last year, and then Murray came back. When Murray was playing last year, they went into Pittsburgh and they slaughtered the Steelers. They went to Philly, they beat Eagles, and they almost beat Houston in Houston. So this is a team on the rise, and but it's all about Murray staying healthy. That's the only question mark. So again, I was close to betting this, but there are some other ones I like because, if Murray only misses 1 or 2 games, they'll be fine here. Also, I forgot to mention, you guys obviously know this. You can leave any comments. I'll get to them. I'll answer anything. You know the deal. It doesn't have to be about football. I'll answer anything. All right, Atlanta. This is another one where we had a big disparity, but I'm not going to bet this, and I'll explain why. Atlanta is their win total is 9.5. My projected wins for Atlanta is 7, even though I have them winning the division. So there are 2 reasons why I'm not going to bet this under. One is that I just don't want to touch the teams in the NFC South for their unders because that division is so bad, and so Atlanta could easily rack up 5 or 6 wins in the division, like no problem. And then that under 9.5 is not going to be looking too good. The second thing is my projected record is 7-10 is kind of based on Kirk Cousins not being 100%. Sort of like Arizona, where I assume Kyler Murray is going to get hurt. This assumes that Kirk Cousins is not 100% coming off the torn Achilles. If he is, though, I think Atlanta could definitely get to 10 or 11 wins because of that easy schedule. So I would go under, though, if I had to. And I might make this a small bet just because I think that Atlanta is just so overrated right now. Everyone assumes that they're going to take the next step, and I just don't think they will because I really question Kirk Cousins' health coming off the torn Achilles. But I'm just not really enthused to bet this. Like I said, they can rack up wins in the NFC South pretty easily. Kid No Name says, can't wait, although Jacob will be missed in the Mox View. Yeah, Jacob will definitely be missed. Hopefully he can make a guest appearance. I wouldn't count on it this soon, but maybe in the future, like maybe next year, he'll do a fantasy mock with us. So Jacob said he'll be back occasionally as a guest. But yeah, unfortunately, yeah, I wish he could be here every Tuesday for sure. Kenny Kinnigan says, I think they lose at home to Pittsburgh week 1. I think so too. I think Pittsburgh looks like a good bet right now. Even at 2.5, it was 3 earlier, but now it's 2.5. John says Falcons really helped shore up their defense with the pick of Latu in the first. Yeah, outstanding pick by the Falcons for sure. That pass rush is going to be really important come playoff time. It's a great move. All right, we get to Baltimore next. Baltimore season over under is 10.5. So this is a non-bet for me. My projected wins for Baltimore is 10. So 10.5. No real edge here. I would go under, obviously, if I had to. The 3 missing offensive linemen could be huge. However, the Ravens have a great front office, and they may have gotten some good replacements. Like, we just don't know. So we'll see. We'll see. This Raven team could definitely win 10.5. Also, remember that Lamar Jackson is not made it through the full season in 2 of the past 3 years. So he did last year. So I think that there's a chance he might miss some games. So I would go under, but not. This is not one I'm betting. Like I said, I like 9. I love 4, and I really like 5. So we'll get to some of those soon. This is another non-bet. The Bills are 10.5 as well. My projected wins for the Bills are 11. So very close. I think something you could do with the Bills is bet their over after the first couple of games. They could get tripped up against Arizona. I talked about why. They play against Miami 4 days later. They know nothing about this Cardinals team. I think they just may look past Arizona. Also, the Bills are going to be gelling with the new receivers fairly early in the season. So this is a team that could start slowly and then pick up steam as the season progresses. And I think if they get tripped up against Arizona in week 1 and then they lose to Miami that Thursday, they start 0-2. You can bet their over win total and get a good number, I think, after that. So that's something I'm going to be looking to do. Each week I'm going to look at that. I'm going to dedicate more time to that kind of stuff because I'm going to take time off of doing weekly recaps of each game. I'm still going to do the recaps, but they're going to be much shorter so I can concentrate on other stuff. I just think that like it's just like I was kind of like it's kind of like kind of doing like an audit almost of like the time I dedicate to everything on the site, and it dawned on me that I spend about a half hour on each recap, and if there are 16 games of the week, that's 8 hours. That's like it's a full work day just for the recaps. And I just think that's just way too much time for a page that gets some traffic, but not a lot. So I want to kind of dedicate that time elsewhere. Like if I spend 10 minutes on each recap, I think that I could spend the other 20 minutes per game doing stuff like this, looking at like good betting opportunities during the season and like bringing back the disaster grades, which I did occasionally, but I would miss some stuff because I would just be so busy with the recaps and other things. So anyway, like I said, Bills after week 2, potentially over win total will be nice, but we'll see what kind of number we get after that. Carolina is 5.5. Which I was kind of disappointed. I thought we might get something lower because they were so bad last year. They were the worst team in the NFL last year. My projected win total for them is 4-13. But I think that they kind of have a wider range because Dave Canales is there. They're gonna it feels like they really made some upgrades, and I think they can get to 6 or 7 wins. So even though like I project them to go 4-13, I would actually go over 5.5 if I had to. I'm just not going to touch this stuff. Chicago is 8.5. This is another one where I'm kind of like right on the dot here. I have them projected for 9 wins. I would like to bet they're under just because I feel like there's a lot of expectations here, but I think there's a chance they could be really good with Caleb Williams. They almost made the playoffs last year. And now they have a better quarterback. They have better receivers, and their defense should still be pretty decent. So I like the Bears. I don't know. I feel like they're a little. I feel like their expectations are a little too high right now. So I'm kind of torn on them. Cincinnati, their projected win total is 10.5. I have them at 12. So it's kind of like leaning toward betting this. But given Joe Burrow's injury history, I've just kind of, I think I'm going to pass on this one. It feels like he gets hurt all the time. I want to see him stay healthy for a year or two before I have confidence in him. If he stays healthy, I'd be shocked if they don't go over. They're just such a great team. Also, Cincinnati plays in the toughest division in the NFL, so it's kind of like the inverse of the NFC South. Whereas, like, I don't want to bet the unders in the NFC South because those teams will just beat each other. They'll just accumulate wins. Whereas the teams in the AFC North, like, those are such tough games. Like Cincinnati, like if they were in an easier division, they go 5-1 in the division, maybe 6-0. But in the AFC North, like they could easily go 3-3. And so like 3 losses right there, that's going to be tough to overcome for over 10.5. So just going to not touch this one. Speaking of the AFC North, we have the Browns at 8.5. This is one I considered betting, even though it's the AFC North, because I had the Browns at 10 wins. So I obviously would go over if I had to, but I still didn't do it just because of the tough division and the AFC itself overall is really taxing. So I just kind of want to avoid that. It's just I wanted to like go into better situations if possible. All right, so next Dallas, their over under is 10.5, which seems pretty high. My number for them is 9, so I like the under. The problem is the VIG is minus 205. I don't know if you guys can see on the screen. It's minus 205, which is pretty insane. I don't know if I could eat that VIG. I don't know what the 10 would be. You could probably find under 10 somewhere for like minus 145, minus 150, but at that point, you get closer to the 9. So if I saw a better number here, I would have bet it, but I just can't do it. Minus 205 is ridiculous. I guess it goes to show like the sharps are all over this. I wish we would have gotten this earlier. Denver, they're over on there's 5.5. It's a shame that we didn't get this, or I didn't bet it earlier. I think Chris Williams on here pointed out it was 6.5 like back in May. But 5.5 is still pretty good. I haven't projected for 2 wins. So this is one of the 4 that I love. I love Denver under 5.5 minus 120. Just going to highlight it here. This is one of the worst teams in the NFL. I don't see how they win 6 or more games. The roster is so shot. They lost offensive linemen this offseason. They're going to start Bo Nix, who should have gotten the second round. They don't have much of a running game. Cortland Sutton's their only viable receiver. Their defense used to be good, but now it's not. Their defensive EPA last year was 23rd, and they just lost so many personnel. So I will be going Denver under 5.5 for sure. The next one's the Lions. Their over under is 10.5. This is one I considered as well. I haven't projected for 12 wins. So I bet the Lions last year. I bet their alt over, which was 10.5 last year, and they got there. I think they'll get there again. It's just a high number, you know. Like if I make this bet, it's going to be a smaller one, just because there's not a huge edge. Like 10.5 to 12 is 1.5 games. But I still like the Lions. So this might be a smaller bet. This is not one of the ones I really liked. But I do kind of like it. So it might be like 1 or 2 units. Packers, their over under is 9.5. This is the same distance because I have them at 11. I am more confident, though, in the Lions. I think they're better than the Packers, but the Packers are a really good team as well. But if I had to bet one of them, I'll take the Lions. I wouldn't want to take both just because they could cannibalize each other. Like, what if the Lions sweep the Packers? You know, and I think it's more likely that the Lions sweep the Packers than the Packers sweep the Lions because the Lions are the better team. It's probably going to be a split, but I do like the Lions more. And if I'm going to bet the Lions, I'm probably not going to bet the Packers. So let's get to Houston here. This is one I love as well. Their over-under is 9.5. I haven't projected for 12 wins. I don't know why this number is so low. Now, the VIG is minus 150. It's not great, but I'd kind of be shocked that the Texans don't take the next step and win at least 10 games. It seems pretty easy that they can win 10 games. Like, I'm 12. CJ Stroud was obviously amazing as a rookie. Should be better this year, especially with Stephon Diggs there. Their offensive line improved, hypothetically, because they spent a second-round pick on one. Their defense is really good. I like their coaching staff. This team looks great to me. I think their over-under should be like 10 or maybe 10.5 because I think they're one of those upper echelon teams. And so it's a difference of 2.5 games here. So yeah, Houston looks really good to me. Let's see. John says Coward said Peyton is the 3rd best coach in the NFL, though. Oh man, maybe he was. I don't know. I don't know what happened to him. It feels like it's almost like he's mailing it in Denver. I don't know. It's only been 1 season, and he hasn't had a chance to get all of his personnel in there. So maybe it's not a fair thing to say, but it feels like the fire is gone from him. I just can't put my finger on why. I don't know. I just don't like where Denver is going with him. I think that Peyton will not be there for very long. Quacky says, "How about the Buccaneers over wins?" We'll see. We'll see about that. I don't think we're going to go Tampa over, but Tampa under might be interesting. And hi, Juan. Hey, Quacky. How's it going? Looking forward to our show on Saturday. It should be banger because I'm going to be live from Vegas and. Yeah, you're in for 2 very interesting episodes of Game of Thrones. 401 has it's one of the biggest memes. The final scene has to do with chicken. It's one of the best memes. I can't wait for you to see that. And then 402 has it's another wedding. It's Joffrey and Marjorie's wedding, and weddings tend to go a little nuts in Game of Thrones. So you should enjoy those 2 episodes for sure. Okay, so Slew says patience, Quacky, alphabetical order. Yeah, you have to wait for your Tampa pick there. That says, the Diggs trade still kills me. Yeah, I hear you. But who knows? I mean, he's going to be 31. I don't know if he's 31 now or going to be 31 soon. So, like, generally you want to get rid of guys who are going to be on the decline. But I do get the frustration. Michael says Coward and Peyton are close, so it's his boy. That's dislike Peyton as much as Walter does. Yeah, I probably dislike Peyton the most. But yeah, hey Michael, I hope you're doing well. K Eagle says Houston has a first place schedule that includes Detroit, Baltimore, and Kansas City. Well, I'm not too high on Baltimore. I think they can beat the Ravens. And I mean, Lions, Chiefs for sure. It is a tougher schedule, but they do get 2 games against Tennessee at least. That's a good point though. Maybe I'll look at the schedule before I place that bet. I'm gonna make these bets official on Saturday. That'll be part of our show with Tom. Just gonna reveal all these bets. Claxy says I'll bring it down a notch. John says love the House of the Dragon, best TV series since Better Call Saul. Yeah, I mean it's great. It feels like Game of Thrones, like seasons 1 and 2. Not the top tier seasons 3 and 4 stuff, but there's a lot of it there. And then obviously George R. R. Martin is he's there. He's executive producer, so that could be why it's so great. If only Game of Thrones didn't get rid of George R. R. Martin. They could have finished strong, and I wouldn't be warning Tom to not watch season 7 and 8. It's just a shame how that ended. Sanders on losing Diggs is like getting dumped by his girlfriend. It can feel that way. It's just, it's a loss. There's separation. So yeah, I kind of could see that. All right, let's get to the next team. We have the Colts here at 8.5. I have been projected for 10 wins. So I like the over. I was close to making this one I like, but I'm already on Houston. Now, if I get off Houston because their schedule is too tough, I may go on the Colts. The one issue is that Anthony Richardson, he got injured in every single game last year, but they have Joe Flacco. And maybe the Flacco stuff last year was a mirage, but I love Shane Steichen as a coach. This team overall is really good. They got Laiatu Latu, who made that joke earlier with the Falcons, but they're the team that got Latu. Their defense can be better. And they have a top 5 offensive line in the NFL. I wish I could ask Jacob here, but I think he would agree. They added more weapons. Jonathan Taylor's going to be healthy for the whole year, you would assume. So I like this Colts team quite a bit. I think they're going to win 10 games, maybe even 11. I think it's more likely they win 11 than 9. So yeah, this is one I might end up betting, especially if I get off Houston. And similarly here, Jaguars, their over under is 8.5. My number is 10 as well. So I trust Steichen more than Doug Peterson, and so this is a conflict, kind of like the Lions and Packers. So I only want to bet one of these teams. And I like the Colts a little bit better than the Jaguars, but I could definitely see an argument for the Jaguars. Like last year, they were 8-3, and then Trevor Lawrence just he got a new injury every week. So I would assume that they're going to bounce back. It just I only want to bet one of these AFC South teams, and I think the pecking order right now is Houston, Indy, and then Jacksonville. But I could change my mind. We'll see. I definitely want to look at the schedule, like I said. Chiefs, their over-under is 11.5. I haven't projected for 12, so no real edge here. Andy Reid was like guaranteed lock-in over every single year with the Chiefs, except past couple years, not so much. But this Chiefs team should be better. They added more weapons. Their defense is still great. And as long as Mahomes and Andy Reid are there, like they're going to rack up wins. So yeah, I would go over, but 11.5 is it's a very high price. Let's see here. Kimmy Canoe says another idea is to look at QBs they faced last year compared to the ones they faced this year. That's another good way to look at it too. John says it's worse. At least I save money if I'm dumped by my girlfriend. It's definitely true. Yeah, it's you definitely rack up money spent when you have that girlfriend. Sue says, but now you now have Claypool. Yes. That is true. Speaking of this, I want to go back to this for a second. So I've said the story before. I used to date this girl Emily. She was from Colorado. She went to school in Tulane, and so I used to either fly out or have her fly in. And you want to talk about money spent, money on plane tickets. And this is back in 2012. It'd be so much worse now. But yeah, that was a ton of money, and so I guess that was like the silver lining of like our relationship ending is that I didn't have to keep buying plane tickets. Just like it got pretty costly. John says, with all the QB injuries, we have no idea what QB each team will actually face each year. Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, think about last year. There's so many quarterback injuries. I wonder if it's going to be similar this year. Yeah, but the ones from last year. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's so hard with the schedule too because you looked at the schedule early last year, like you saw Bengals. You're like, oh man, this is gonna be tough. Like for example, the Chiefs played the Bengals in Week 17 last year, and that looked like a tough game, and it didn't end up being a tough game because it was Jake Browning. So it's tough to gauge because there's so many injuries, but it's all we can do is just kind of speculate. All right, Raiders. Now you guys are gonna roll your eyes here. They're over under 6.5. I have them to 10 wins. I don't know what's going on here. I maybe I'm just wrong here on the Raiders. I forgot to highlight Houston. So I don't know. They had the number, what was it, 7 defense last year, and they added Christian Wilkins, so they should be better. Gardner Minshew gives them some stability quarterback. They have a lot of weapons. Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, and Brock Bowers. Zamir White looked good at the end of last year. Their offensive line has improved. They added Jackson Powers-Johnson. That should be an upgrade. So I like this team quite a bit. I don't know. And plus, like, remember how poorly they were coached last year until Antonio Pierce took over. So I like the over 6.5 for sure. I think they go way over. I'd be shocked if they only win 6 games. I think they win 8, 9, 10, maybe 11. So I'm pretty high on the Raiders. But like I said, I'm sure you guys will criticize me for it. Next one is Chargers. Their over under is 8.5. I have them at 8, so no real edge here. Looks like the over is juiced, which I guess is enthusiasm for Harbaugh. But I don't know. I guess the sharp money's going to the Chargers rather than the Raiders. Although the over is a little juice here too. Yeah, I just don't know what to expect from the Chargers. I don't know. I mean, I like Harbaugh as a coach, but they've had so much turnover. Like it feels like they just have a wide range of outcomes. Again, I just don't know what to expect there. Rams are 8.5, and this is one I love because I have them at 12 wins. I think this Rams team is going to be awesome this year. So I don't know why this over under is only 8.5. Like their offense was so explosive last year with Matthew Stafford, and Kyron Williams added a dimension they didn't have, and they drafted Blake Corum. So if Williams gets hurt, they have a good backup theoretically. But Puka Nacua was kind of like the catalyst there. Like Cooper Kupp has been injured the past couple of years. You can't count on him anymore. But Puka Nacua is now the number 1 receiver there, and they're just so much more dangerous offensively. And their defense was a surprise last year. They had a lot of young guys step up, and they're only going to get better. And they added a lot of talent to their secondary as well. So I like the Rams quite a bit. My phone just went off. I was like, who's calling me at 11:50? It's a reminder that I have to that I have to stay in Las Vegas. It's popped up. So no, the Rams for sure over 8.5. That's gonna be one of my top plays. Yeah, I feel like the only way this loses is if Stafford gets hurt, and that could definitely happen. But you kind of have to take some risk here. Let's see here. John says Raiders QB situation is bad. Hiring an intern coach rarely works. Minshew took the Colts to the brink of the playoffs last year. Remember, it came down to week 18 against Houston. They ran that dumb play on 4th down, and so they lost. If they won that game, they would have been in the playoffs instead of Houston. And that was a Gardner Minshew starting almost every game. So I think Minshew can definitely get him there. I think he's one of the better backups in the NFL. Obviously, he has to start now, but he's a premium backup / like spot starter. I think he could do well with the weapons they have. Cracky says Corum ends up being good. I bet. I think so too. He's like the Cole Beasley running backs. I don't know what that means, but no, I do like him. I do like him for sure. It kind of helps I have his legendary Rainmaker card, so I'm rooting for him. But no, I like them coming out of Michigan, and I thought maybe he'd go to a team and have a chance to start like Carolina, but he will definitely be effective if Williams gets hurt. John says, why are the bigs not closer to -105 on all these over-unders? It's just because that's who the sharps, mostly sharps, like I doubt the public's on this early. That's who the sharps are betting. So you can tell who the sharps like just based on the big. And it's not like they can move the line that much. Like if they move the line like a win, then I feel like the books will probably be scared that the sharps hop on the other side. So they don't want to get killed there. So they'll just leave the vig at higher numbers, and like they don't really need to move the vig because it's not like a regular game that a lot of people want to bet, And I think that given this is a season long thing, I think people are more likely to eat the vig than anything. Michael says, Minshew sneaky solid. He has a ceiling, but he's got mobility, accuracy, and the Raiders are just a more rounded team. Chargers are also on the road every week. That's definitely true about the Chargers. Yeah, we agree on Minshew. I think he can pilot the ship pretty well there, get them to about 500, maybe even better than that because their defense is going to be so good. So yeah, glad you're on board with the Raiders here. Stanley says, hey, Walt, what's your thoughts on tight end Theo Johnson blowing up his rookie year for the Giants? I mean, he's a 4th round rookie. He's got upside. He could do well. I think he's going to be raw. But the tight end's all open right now for the Giants with Waller gone. So it could be Theo Johnson, it could be Daniel Bellinger, it could be someone else. Someone's going to take those targets, but it could be distributed three ways or so. So I think if Theo Johnson does well, I think it might be in the future. I don't know if necessarily if it's going to be this year. All right, so let's move onward here. Miami is 9.5. I think this is pretty close. Yeah, I have a 10. So no real edge here. Doesn't look like the sharps are betting this either. It's a -122 on the over. So this team has a ton of potential, but they also have a low floor because it feels like their players just get hurt all the time. And their defense is going to be worse because they lost some edge rushers. They lost Christian Wilkins. Feels like most Dolphins games this year could be like 49-42. Like it could be insane. Last year, the Dolphins got out to huge leads, especially against bad teams. And then they kind of just sat on those leads with the running game. Like this year, they might have to throw a lot. I think for that reason, like Tua might be a good bet to lead the league in passing yards. Problem is that he gets hurt too. So that might look great until he gets injured. It'll be fun to watch at least. Minnesota is 7.5. This is one I love. I think I wrote these down. This is one I really like. I have them at 6 wins. So is Sam Darnold or JJ McCarthy going to lead the Vikings to 8 wins or more in a division with the Packers and Lions? Like I just don't see that. However, I do like the way they're coached. I like Kevin O'Connell a lot. So like he could get something out of one of these quarterbacks. They still have the 2 elite receiver, well, 1 elite receiver, 1 really good receiver. I like the Aaron Jones upgrade, although he's another guy who gets hurt a lot. The offensive line's good. Their defense is work in progress, but I do like Brian Flores as their coordinator. So I think the Vikings have potential, but I just don't see them getting to 8 wins this year. So I like the under. The only the concern here is that the big is -170, so that's pretty rough. But still, I think they get there. I think I'm willing to eat that big -170. It's not like -200 or something. And obviously, I always say this, but shop around. You might be able to get a -155 big somewhere. These sportsbooks have to compete with each other, and some have better prices than others. Some are slow to move than others. John Sanders, 411 super chat. Thanks so much, John. Just really appreciate it. He says, bet the Jets over now before they trade for Adams. Have you heard any rumors on that? I haven't heard any like concrete rumors, but like the fit is obvious, with Adams and Rodgers, and that would hurt my Raiders bet. I wouldn't like the Raiders as much if that happens. So I haven't heard anything about that, but if you have, let me know for sure. He says, "Are the Vikings going 17-0 because the Bills get their second round pick next year?" Yep, that sounds about right. Hopefully not. If that they're under. Let's see here. Quacky says they should have Dentine do an ad campaign with Gardner Minshew. Yeah, why not? That sounds pretty good. But speaking of ad campaigns, that's one of the memes from the Game of Thrones 401. It has to do with the Hound and chicken. It's so good. Like, you're gonna love these memes, Tom. Appalachia Cole says, "Thanks for being based. Looked at your mocks since I was a young teen." Thanks, man. Glad you like the mocks, and glad you like me being based. Yeah, definitely based for sure. Not woke in any sense. So it says, with you going to Vegas, the Trenton Thunder security guard is going to miss you not being in the parking lot in that same spot at 1 a.m. Well, I was there last night at, I think it was it was 2:40 a.m. I think I got there, or 2:30 a.m. No, he got to see me this week. Don't worry about it. And it was for the British Open. So I have a lot of lineups here for the British Open for Rainmakers. So hopefully they do well. Just really, really would love that. John says, Boomer reported it's going to happen, I thought. Okay, I didn't hear that, but I'll look into it because that'll definitely affect the Raiders bet. And Stanley says, I think the Chargers are only getting 6 wins this season. It could I could see the Chargers having a wide range of outcomes. I could see him getting 6 wins. I could see him getting 10 wins. They have Justin Herbert, who's super talented, but hasn't been refined. Like, he's been coached very poorly throughout his whole career. Now he's finally going to be coached well. They added Joe Alt, who he could be great at right tackle. We'll see. We have no idea because he's never played right tackle. But if he's great, they're going to have 2 awesome tackles. So their offensive line is going to be pretty stellar, and they have their 2 edge rushers on defense. They have a lot of potential. I just think there is downside for sure. So I don't know what to make of that team. All right, so let's get to the next one. We had New England here at 4.5. Jacob's not going to like this. I have them at 3 wins. I really like the under 4.5. It's plus 122 too. So this is one occasion where we're not going at the minus. The Sharps, for some reason, like the over. Don't know why. I think this Patriots team is going to be terrible. I mean, they were awful last year with Bill Belichick, and now they lost the best coach in the NFL. Maybe Gerard Mayo is this next prodigy or something, but even if he is in year one, like Bill Belichick in year one was not the Belichick we eventually saw. Andy Reid in year one was not the Andy Reid we eventually saw. Like there's a learning curve here with these coaches. And so, I mean, Gerard Mayo is not going to be Bill Belichick right away, like no matter how great he's going to be in the future. I feel like the defense is going to take a hit without Belichick. Their offense is just devoid of talent. Like, it's the best way to say it. Like, Jalen Polk might be their number 1 receiver, or maybe it's Javon Baker. Ramondre Stevenson's good, but not great. Their offensive line has some holes. And then we'll see what they get out of quarterback. I like Brissett when he has talent around him, but he doesn't have that here. So we saw Brissett struggle. What was that one year in Miami, I think. Whereas and then he played really well with Cleveland. Like, Cleveland had better talent around him, whereas Miami didn't because they couldn't block for him. And I think that's going to be the case here. Like, they're not going to be able to block for him. And also, they play in this division with they have the Bills twice, the Dolphins twice, Jets twice. Like, that sounds like 1-5 or 0-6 to me. And plus they're in the AFC as well. Like, they do get that 4th place schedule. It's just nice, but still they have to play tough teams like most weeks. So I like the under for sure. 4.5 is low, but I don't see him getting the 5 wins. Saints are another one where I'm like, I want to bet the under, but they play in such a bad division. Plus, like their totals recently have been like 8.5, 9.5. Like now it's only 7.5. Seems like a step down. I have them at 6 wins though, so I still like the under. But again, I don't really want to bet the unders in the NFC South. Pretty much like I don't want to bet the overs in the AFC North. Sharps like love Drake May. Drake May could be great. He really could be. I just don't know about this year, especially with the lack of talent they have at receiver. LA, Miami, Vegas, New York City in that order. This is a question here. I was like, what is this? Okay, Stanley asking, hey Walt, which city between Las Vegas, Miami, Los Angeles, and New York City has the hottest looking women? All right, so Sue says LA, Miami, Vegas, New York City in that order. I have never been to New York City. I've never been to Los Angeles. I go to Las Vegas every summer. I went to Miami once, for the Super Bowl. That was a month before COVID started. I have to be partial at Vegas, I guess. There are a lot of attractive women in Vegas, but there are a lot of attractive women else everywhere, I think. But I don't know. Like I said, I've never been to LA. I assume if had I been longer in Miami, I would have seen, better looking women there. But I was kind of confined to this like Airbnb, and like it's kind of like a small community. I was like right near the beach, but it was February. Like there's barely anyone on the beach. And but I wasn't even at South Beach. I was in North Beach, which is quieter. Let's say this though, like Miami has a large Russian contingency. So if you like Russian women, that could be the place for you. Which I was kind of surprised because I obviously expected like Cuban and stuff like that, but there were a lot of stores that just had like Russian writing on them. It felt like where I live in Northeast Philly, there's a lot of Russians, and I was like I kind of feel at home there, at home here, because like it's the same thing. So yeah, like I said, if you like Russian women, Miami could be a place for you. Whatever city's the biggest, that's true. Yeah, like there are attractive women everywhere. He says this is the Walter Football Beautiful People's Club, and you are our newest member. Yes, it's definitely true. I like the time. All right, so we go to the Giants here, 6.5. Stanley, you might want to cover your ears here, but I like the under a lot. I have them at 4 wins, even though they're in the NFC. I don't see it with this team. Outside of Andrew Thomas and maybe Jermaine Illuminor, their offensive line is really bad. Center to right tackle is the worst offensive line in the NFL from center to right tackle. Daniel Jones is coming off a torn Achilles. We have no idea how he's going to play. Torn ACL. We have no idea how he's going to play. They lost Saquon Barkley, their best weapon. Now they got Malik Neighbors, but he's a rookie. So I feel like Saquon Barkley last year would be better for them than Malik Neighbors as a rookie. And obviously, when you get into year 2, year 3, that might change. But I think that the Barkley loss is definitely going to be substantial. They got Brian Burns, and the defensive line is really good with Burns, Thibodeau, and Dexter Lawrence. But overall, like the secondary, I don't like. They lost Avery McKinney. Their cornerbacks are terrible, I think. So I definitely like the under 6.5. I don't see him getting to 7 wins. This is one I really like. I could put this in the love category actually. Not sure why I didn't make the cut there. This will definitely be one of my top plays. The under 6.5 for the Giants. Again, sorry Stanley. The Jets are 9.5. I haven't projected for 11, so I like the over a little bit, and a lot of people do as well because the VIG is minus 162. But you have Aaron Rodgers, who's a big injury risk. You have Tyron Smith, who's a big injury risk. You have Mike Williams, who's a big injury risk. You have Elijah Vera Tucker, who's a big injury risk. I could go on and on. Even Breece Hall is not too far removed from torn ACL. Like his team could be great. This team could suffer a ton of injuries and go 7-10 again because I feel like their defense would just carry them to 6-7 wins. But you need 10 here, and I can't bet it given how injury prone this team is. Kimigo says Circa in Vegas hires the best looking women. I have not been to the Circa that often. It's new. I've been there once, and I was kind of like, it was so big. Their sportsbook was like they call it the stadium, I guess. It looked like a stadium. It was just so overwhelming. I was kind of I was peeved by I saw that they're like Oh, the stadium swim. It's called the stadium swim, where it's outside. It costs like $40 to go out there or something. I was like, this is ridiculous. I was like if you go to any hotel, you can use their pool for free. Now there are resort fees and stuff like that, but still, I was like, you have to pay like $40 to go out there. It seems a little ridiculous. So I haven't stayed there. Again, I've only been there once, but I mean, I'll take your word for it. I signed up for the Circa Million at the Tuscany anyway, which I feel like I don't think I've ever seen a woman work there. It's like all older guys at the window. And they're nice though. The guys at the Circa, like I kind of like BS with them all the time. They're or at the Tuscany. I mean, yeah, they're nice people out there. But yeah, it's all old guys. Which that's fine. Michael says, do you watch Hard Knocks at all? Mara looks like he medals. By the way, Drake May was very impressive in his combine interview with the Giants, which they showed. No, I've never watched Hard Knocks. I kind of addressed this last week, where I'm like football all the time with work, and so on with my rare downtime, I'm like I just want to do something else. Like I want to watch Game of Thrones, or I want to play video games. I just kind of have to shut off football for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like if this were just a hobby and I weren't spending so much time on it, I'd probably watch Hard Knocks. But then again, I'm not like a documentary type of guy anyway. So maybe I just don't find that really interesting. Yeah, and John says, I know you don't watch Hard Knocks, but the offseason Giants episodes have been fascinating to watch. Yeah, I saw that they were doing it differently this time with the draft and stuff. So I might watch it just because it's the draft and it's different. So yeah, maybe I'll tune in. All right, so we have the Eagles here at 10.5. Their over is minus 134. I haven't projected for 13 wins, so this is a difference of 2.5. So I really like this. I'm going to bet the Eagles for a couple units. I think they're the best team in the NFC, maybe the entire NFL. Just look what they did. Like their offense was already explosive, and they added Saquon Barkley. Plus, they had some injuries there last year. AJ Brown was hurt at the end of the year, so he's going to be back healthy. And then defensively, they added they got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson back. They got Devin White. They hired Vic Fangio, and they spent their 2 top picks on cornerbacks. Both are steals. Prinny Mitchell could have easily gone at number 15. And no one would have complained. And then Cooper DeJean could have gone at the end of the first round. No one would have complained. Eagles got both of them. I feel like at least one of them is going to be really good. So this team looks great to me. I'm not surprised that the VIG is edged toward the over, even though it's 10.5. So especially given that the Eagles are in the NFC. If they were in the AFC, I'd have some hesitation. But in the NFC, I think they should definitely get there. So I like the over 10.5. Steelers here, again, another AFC North team, so I'm not going to have interest. Their over is 8.5, which, if you follow the Mike Tomlin rule, that's an automatic win because he's never gone under 500 in his coaching career. However, it's going to be tested this year with Russell Wilson. I just hate Russell Wilson. I know they have Justin Fields, but he tends to get hurt a lot. I have him at 9 wins, so we're right there. Just don't really see an edge in betting them. The Niners are 11.5. That's way too high. I would consider the under. However, I have them going for 12 wins, so that's the conflict here. I think this number is too high, and I think I'd rather fade the 11.5. But I have them at 12-5. They're still a really good team, so this is a non-bet for me. One team I will be betting against is Seattle. They're over under 7.5, which I don't quite get. I have them projected for 5 wins. Pete Carroll's no longer there, so he can't get the most out of his team like he tends to do. They have a new coaching staff, and again, we don't know how good this new coaching staff is going to be, but it's year 1, and they're probably going to struggle. They lost all 3 starting interior offensive line, which is not a good sign. They lost both starting safeties, and they lost all 3 starting linebackers. This team just it's kind of they have so much turnover here. I feel like it's going to be tough for them to gel right away. Now, maybe in the second half of the year they're going to be better, but I don't know. I just don't see this team doing that well. Again, I have them 5-12, so under 7.5 looks great, especially with the plus vig. Not sure why the over vig's there. Maybe people still think Pete Carroll's the coach or something, but I don't get it. I think the Seattle team is going to suck. Kami Eagle says, oh, wait, here we go. We have more comments here first. Michael McGee says it's been pretty good. My takes are that GM Schoen seems realistic about the roster. Dayball comes across as a bit pompous. No wonder Wink hated him. Okay. Maybe I'll tune in. You guys are kind of convincing me here. John says Dayball and McDermott left on bad terms. Lost some respect for Dayball. Okay. Sue says, since you don't watch Hard Knocks, that means you should have time to watch the WNBA games with Quacky. Well, I did say I was going to do it for his birthday, so I'm kind of like locked into to watching one. Unfortunately, not looking forward to it, but I don't know. Maybe the reactions to it will be good. I suspect we're going to see a lot of missed layups, and I'm going to find myself wondering like, why does anyone watch this stuff? Okay. Kim Ikino says, it is very expensive. I paid $125 a piece for 2 tickets to sit and watch their huge sportsbook screen when opening a week of March Madness was on a Monday. At least we got 5 drink tickets. Yeah, it's so much. I was like, I don't know. I was I was at the Circa. I was just making some bets there, and I was like, I just want to check out Stadium Swim because like even some of these hotels where you need you need to present your like room key to get in. I was like, at least you can stand outside and like look at the venue and see like what it's like. And I obviously you can look at pictures and stuff. I just wanted to see with my own eyes. But there's like there's like tickets $40. Like, look, come on, I just want to like look, So yeah, I didn't like that at all. Plus, I don't like staying in Old Vegas. I like staying on the Strip. I don't know. I just like hopping from sportsbook to sportsbook. Whereas like Old Vegas has like weird sportsbooks like Golden Nugget, like it's like a one-off. Whereas like if you're on the Strip, you have access to MGM, Caesars, what else? You have Circa, via Tuscany. It's not on the Strip, but it's kind of close. And then there's one other I'm missing. There are 4. It was William Hill. You get access to all of them on the Strip, and I just think that's so convenient. And then on the night, okay. Cracky says, dude, there was a great game tonight. Yes, it was. I can tell you right now, it was what, Dallas and Indiana. Yeah, Dallas won 101-93. Caitlin Clark had 24 points, 19 assists, 6 rebounds. I know this because I played Showdown. I got 1,866 place out of 35.29, so I didn't cash. I was 17 away from the cash line. I didn't cash because this S.U. Zun person didn't play, apparently. Sebegi Yuzun. Not a bad-looking woman, according to the picture, but she did not play, or at least she didn't register a stat. I also had this M. Billings character, Monique Billings. She had 1 rebound and 2 points. I had Ogunbowale, any relation to Dare? I don't know. Arike Ogunbowale, I had her as my captain. She did well. I had Caitlin Clark as flex and N. Howard as flex and N. Smith as flex. But it wasn't good enough, unfortunately. I have cashed some WNBA lineups. Not proud to say, but I have done it. So I know of the game. I didn't watch it. You couldn't have paid me to watch it, but like I said, I will watch it with you for your birthday. Michael says rather watch paint dry than women's sports. Yes, agreed, totally. John says I don't know. I love women's beach volleyball. True, very true. You do make a good point, John. Sue says women's curling can get pretty intense. I have never seen women's curling. I'll take your word for it, though. I imagine it could get pretty intense. All right, we have three left to go. We have Tampa here at they're 7.5, and my projected wins for them are 5. So it's a difference between 2.5. So as I said, though, I don't want to bet these NFC South unders. However, like this is pretty tempting. Under 7.5 looks pretty good. They had a lot of lucky wins last year, and there has to be regression to the mean just based on what we saw last year. So I'm kind of like jaded because this is one I lost last year, but I am willing to bet it for sure. Under 7.5, I like. I don't love it. Just again, NFC South, but that's pretty high. I think they're going to get 5-6 wins. I don't. For me to lose this, they have to go 8-9. I just don't see Tampa going 8-9. But yeah, Tennessee is 6.5. It seems pretty high. I have them at 5, so it's not a huge edge. I like the Titans though. I think they're so this is kind of confusing. Like to me, I think they're underrated because people think they're going to be awful this year, and I don't think they're going to be awful. Their defense should be really good. Their offense line should be improved, and then they got Calvin Ridley, so their receiving core is going to be better than it was last year. I like Tony Pollard coming, now a year removed from that broken leg, and I like Tajay Spears. The quarterback's the only question mark. So all that said, I think this team's going to be underrated. But then I look at this win total; it's like 6.5. I feel like the sportsbooks are thinking the same thing here. I think if they put a low number down, the sharps would have hammered it. The over. Like if they put 4.5 down, like they did for New England, I think that you'd see a huge number big on the over. But as it stands now, this is just a non-bet for me, which is a shame because I thought coming in, I was like, yeah, Tennessee over for sure, and we just can't get it with 6.5. Washington, it's 6.5 here. My projected wins for Washington is 7. So I feel like you guys have made fun of me for my love for the Raiders and the Redskins this offseason. But I will not be betting this one. 6.5 and 7, obviously way too close. So there's not much of an edge here. I definitely go over rather than the under. I think they have a lot of potential with Jaden Daniels. This is a number that I felt like could have been lower. But then the sharps would have hammered it for sure. So it says, I wonder if Ridley likes the under. It's a good question. I wish we could have access to his sports betting account, kind of like, Unusual Whales does with the with like Congress. That'd be pretty fascinating just to see what he bets on. If he liked the under, I'd be on the under as well. That's about it. I'm gonna go through the ones I picked out again. Broncos under 5.5 minus 120. And again, these will be on the site come Saturday. I'm just gonna kind of see where the best number is. I haven't done that yet. I just kind of this is kind of like a first glance. So just gonna look for better vig or better wins. But you're probably not gonna see a difference in wins. But with the vig, you can see a big difference. Like sometimes you see like for this minus 120. It could be plus 105 somewhere. So you really have to shop around to get the best prices. So anyway, Denver under 5.5. Houston over 9.5, but again, I'm going to look at the schedule. I'm going to pick out one of the AFC South teams to target for the over. I'm pretty confident that two of them will hit, but I just want to take the best one. Raiders over 6.5. I want to investigate any Devontae Adams trade possibilities, but I don't know. I feel like Devontae Adams really campaigned for Antonio Pierce to stay there. So would he want to be traded? When he got his guy, I don't know, but we'll see. Rams over 8.5. I'm at 12 wins, so this is a big difference. Vikings under 7.5 with McCarthy and Darnold. Just don't see him getting to 8 wins. Patriots under 4.5. This team's gonna be dreadful once again. Giants under 6.5. Again, sorry Stanley. I think the Giants are gonna be terrible. They could finish with the worst record in the NFL for sure. But the NFC schedule might save them, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Seattle under 7.5 wins. Not sure why that number's so high. And then Tampa under 7.5 wins. Not a huge bet for me because it's the NFC South, but I like them a little bit. Sue says, how about a replacement golfer for Soderbergh? Wait till after the first round. Yes. So, I mean, I didn't love any of the other options. However, I'll give you a name here. I want to pull it up. So there's one guy I had next to Soderbergh, who's is a European guy who he hits accurately. He's not as good as with his irons. So that's why I like Soderbergh so much. His approach play is really good. That's part of the reason why he's the number one player on the European tour. It's a shame that he's not going to be able to compete here. I thought he might have a chance. This guy's a huge unknown. And he's finished second or third in his previous 4 tournaments on the European tour. So I thought he had a chance, but he withdrew. I'm not sure why. The other guy, though, and let's get to his odds here. I don't even know what his odds are. I just know that he's close to me in his rankings. Close to he's close to Soderberg. Rory jumped to 850. He was like 750 earlier in the week. So no one's betting Rory apparently. All right, let's find this guy's name. Okay, Ewan Ferguson. He is 300 to 1 on FanDuel. I don't know if there's a better number out there. You might want to look into that. Maybe you could find a 350 or something, or maybe 400. I'll pull up his stats here. He is Scottish, he missed the cut at the Scottish Open. So like that's the one hesitation I have here. However, he won the BMW International Open on the European Tour a couple weeks ago. He's you look at the stats here, like he's really accurate. He's good with his irons. Like that's what you need at the British Open. You also need to putt well. He doesn't putt well. That could cost him. Again, this is not as strong of a play as Soderberg. And I want to show you Soderberg stats. So it's like accuracy is like fine. It's driving distance is fine. His approach play though is like 1.7, whereas Ferguson's is 1.2. So like the iron play is gonna be so important at the British Open. In fact, like I remember Phil Mickelson. I was seeing like Phil Mickelson back in 2016 when they played at the Royal Troon, which is where the British Open is now. Like he was hitting irons off the tee. Like that's how impactful like iron play is at this tournament. So you want to be elite there with the irons. But Ferguson's good with them. So he could do well. 301, why not? Why not take a shot? Like put $10 on it. So I don't know if I'm going to make that an official bet because I don't like him as much as Soderberg. And the fact that he missed the cut at the Genesis Scottish Open. And he also missed the cut at the 2023 British Open. So he has not done well when faced up against this top competition. But he is like, according to my model, he's like the next best guy in this like 200 to 1 plus range, So another guy we mentioned yesterday, though, and I want to touch on him for a second, is Tom McKibben. A chatter brought him up. I think it was Matty Ice in the chat. I'm not sure who it was in the chat. McKibben is outside of sounding like a McDonald's sandwich, is a guy who so he's Northern Ireland. He's accurate. He's somewhat decent with his irons, not great. But yeah, Italian Open second, KLM Open sixth. Like this is all European Tour stuff. At the U.S. Open, he finished 41st, so at least he made the cut. However, he missed the cut at the Scottish Open. Again, that's kind of concerning there. I don't know what happened with his approach play. Just so weird. But if you look at McKibben, his odds are 200 to 1. So one of these guys, Ferguson or McKibben, I like wait, hold on. I was actually see according to my model. I like Ferguson a little bit more than McKibben. Ferguson is he's 25th in my model. McKibben is 29th, whereas like Soderberg was 20th. It's still close. They're all top 30. So yeah, I mean, again, I would rather take a shot on Ferguson than McKibben, but given that there was some enthusiasm for McKibben in our chat last night, maybe you want to try him as well. Kemigu says, be aware if you're betting the over on San Francisco 49ers play 4 teams coming off bye week, although Kansas City only gets 4-day advantage in week 7 because San Francisco played Thursday. Good to know. That's definitely something to maybe fade the Niners over. So yeah. Given that their win total is 11.5, maybe you want to play the under for sure. I'd rather play under than over, even though I haven't projected for 12 wins. John Daly's projected for plus 600,000 at 365. Well, I don't. He has no chance to win. How old's John Daly? What is he like? Is he 60 already, or how old is he? Let's see. He's 58. Look at this picture they have up here. I'm gonna enlarge it. You got to love the grizzled beard. He's 58. Look at this. It's not even a pentagon. It's a sad little triangle that he has. Man, it's pretty rough for John Daly. I mean, obviously when you're 58, you're not going to be golfing well against the 20, 25-year-olds. So he did win the British Open 95. a long time ago. But yeah. Speaking of which, real quick, funny story. Not even a story. I was at my parents' house. I brought the kids. They went swimming and stuff, and my sister was there with her kids. One of her niece or one of her daughters. One of my nieces is 4. And her sister's 7. She's the one who thought I was like 63 years old. So this my 4-year-old niece. She's obsessed with like saying like pointing out hair colors and stuff. And she goes, Uncle Wall, guess what? I'm like, what? And she's like, I have blonde hair. A long time ago, though, I had brown hair. I'm thinking like a long time ago. You're 4. Like, what is a long time ago for you? Like, is that like 2 years ago? Like, it's so funny how relative that is. But yeah, anyway, I was just kind of reminded of that. I had a good laugh. Mike says, yeah, John Sanders, if you're going to watch a women's sport, beach volleyball it is. Yes, I totally agree, Mike. And then John says, absolutely, they're the ones that deserve the NBA player salaries. Yes. Yeah, because, you're never going to watch WNBA or NBA, but you will absolutely watch women's beach volleyball over men's beach volleyball any day of the week. So you're absolutely right about that. See, Mike says, is the Republican quote-unquote platform finalized yet and is banning soccer on it? Unfortunately, I don't think it is. So bad move by the Republicans here, not banning soccer. But yeah, it is. I guess it is. We do know who the ticket is now, Trump and Vance. I thought Vance was solid, not great, not my top choice, but could have been worse because earlier that day, Jack Posobiec tweeted out, he's like, there's some buzz about Nikki Haley becoming the VP. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, who do you vote for at that point? Because there's no way I'd vote for anyone or any ticket with Nikki Haley on it. So I was like, yeah, so Trump would be out at that point. Can't vote for Chase Oliver, who's a communist, vaccine mandate, obviously not voting for Biden. And then RFK is anti-2A. So I'm like, just like not vote. So luckily it wasn't Nikki Haley. That would have been a disaster. Just says, no, they're worried about super crap like immigration and the economy. Yeah. Who cares about that stuff? Like, it's just, let's focus on banning soccer. Yeah. You have to, it's pretty funny that like you have one side focused on immigration and the economy and the other one's focused on how bad they think the other guy is. It's like so stupid. This politics is so ridiculous. But yeah, anyway, I mean, that's about it. That's all I have. British Open starts in 32 minutes, by the way. Or no, an hour. I think it's 1:30 actually. So you got 1 hour and 2 minutes until it starts. Yeah, my Rainmaker ticker says an hour and 6 minutes. Which like it's pretty interesting here. The Rainmaker pack party for Rainmakers, it says top 27 win, and there are only 22 people in it. So it's like it feels like Oprah, like free packs for everyone. So we'll at least have some packs to open on Sunday. Actually, I don't know if we're gonna do that this week because it's my last night in Vegas, so I don't know if we're gonna do a pack party opening. I'll definitely do one next week. John says Biden has COVID. Apparently, I think Harris will be the nominee. I don't think it's me either. I really don't. I really think the super delegates are going to pick someone else, unless they think they don't have a chance to win. In that case, they'll just ride with Biden and Harris, or Harris. So you could be right if they think they don't have a chance. But I think if they think that either Michelle Obama, if she wants to run, if they think she has a chance, if they think that Gavin Newsom, if he wants to run, then who knows? Maybe he wants to wait till 2028. I think they'll pick someone else. But yeah, Biden has COVID. It's funny because like the Biden account said, first it said I'm sick, and then it said like I have COVID. But like Biden doesn't run that account. It's the person running in that account is some girl named Megan Coyne. It's like this 25-year-old girl. So I said, I replied to him like, "Get well, Megan." It's kind of weird. It's so weird that like Biden never tweets from that account. Like I doubt he even knows his login credentials. I'd be shocked if he knows his login credentials for Twitter. But yeah, it's Megan Coyne just runs that account, and so like that account saying I have COVID, I'm like, is it Biden who has COVID or is it Megan Coyne who has COVID? Like, it's so strange how that works. Whereas like, Trump tweets from that account, or when he had Twitter, at least he tweets from his Truth Social account. Like that's what he does. Or he has he's like, say this or to an assistant or something. But there's like Biden, he probably doesn't even know what's being said on his account, which is really weird. Sue says Joey must have missed getting his 12th booster shot. Yeah. Yeah. How, like, it's definitely a faulty test, right? How could he test positive for COVID after all those shots? It must be a faulty test. He definitely does not have COVID. And K McNeil says it could work if you ban it for girls under age 9. 8-year-olds have broken their necks trying to head the soccer ball. Yeah, I mean, so I don't know if my son's going to get into soccer. I think like I might have to put my foot down with my wife if she tries to get into soccer, to play soccer. But then again, it could be good for his foot coordination, and it'll be a good way for him to get energy out, because my son's like all over the place. He just doesn't stop running around. It's just he can't sit still. Like, he's 2, he's at that age, so. Maybe it'll be good for him, but I'm not too happy about soccer. Sue says, have a good flight to Vegas. I hope you aren't flying Brand X, champion of the DEI hires. Yeah, I hope I don't have any DEI pilots for sure. I think it's American Airlines. I think probably should look into that when I drive to the airport. But thank you, Sue. Yeah, I won't be on tomorrow. I'll be flying out to Vegas. So again, we'll be doing the show from Vegas on Saturday, where I finalize my bets. So looking forward to that. Mike says, how about this? Set soccer aside exclusively for transgender athletes, and that's the only sport they can play. Yeah, sure. Yeah, why not? That's pretty good. John says Vance was the first millennial on a presidential ticket. DEI in action. Yep. That's pretty interesting that he's the first first millennial guy. Yes. You have to. Us millennials have to be represented, I suppose. So yeah, as someone who's born in '82, I'm kind of like on the edge of millennial versus Gen X, but I am officially a millennial, so I have to root for Vance. I don't like that he was a never Trumper, but I know smart people who are never Trumpers and now support Trump, so I think that's okay. What I don't like about Vance is that he was opposed to letting to freeing Julian Assange, or pardoning Julian Assange. That's like the one hang up I have with him. And plus, I'd rather have Vivek. I rather would have had Tulsi, even though I don't agree with her domestic policies. But I feel like they would be more anti-establishment. But given that like Fox News is upset about this, I think that's a good thing. Mike says, have a great trip to Vegas, sportsbook paradise in every hotel. Yeah, except if you want to bet golf live, which you can't do there, which is ridiculous. And it's so absurd that you can't use BetMGM if you're staying at an MGM resort, which is stupid. So yeah, I last year it was the Scottish Open when I went, and I went to the sportsbook at the at Park MGM. This year I'm staying at the Cosmo because they're paying for my flight, which is nice. But last year I was at the Park MGM. And I go to the sportsbook. I'm like, can I bet golf live? And the guy looks at me like I had 2 heads. He's like, no, we can't. We don't do that here. I'm like, what do you mean? I could do that online. He's like, this isn't online. I'm like, isn't this supposed to be better than online? I'm in Vegas. Like, what is going on here? But no, you can't bet golf live apparently, or if you can't do it at a MGM sportsbook. So yeah, I don't know. Kimmy says he'll definitely be a better VP than the cackler. Yeah, that's definitely true. Some of these accounts on Twitter, they're like, I can't wait until Kamala drags Vance in the vice presidential debate. I'm like, yeah. Do you not know how dumb Kamala is? Like, are you not made aware of this? Or are you just a bootlicker just towing the line? I don't know. It's so hard to tell with these people. So he says that's why you need to be in Trump's gambling czar. Yes. Like I said, it's like, you're going to be the best gambling czar ever. I'm like, okay, first day in office, everything's legal. Bye-bye. That's all I do. So yeah, I don't know why everything's not legal already. It's we're all adults here. You should be able to do whatever you want as long as you're not hurting anyone. And with gambling, you're not hurting anyone. Maybe you're hurting yourself, but again, yeah, you're an adult, so you should be able to take some responsibility. Yeah, gambling's are a great idea. Yeah, I would love it. I would just it would be the easiest job ever. I'd be like, yeah, everything's legal. Bye bye. I'm out. But yeah, all right, yeah, guys, I have to start getting ready. I have like a list of things I need to do. I need to find my sunglasses. I have no idea where they are. If I don't find them, I have to buy some new ones, which I don't want to do. But yeah, I have like a list of 6 things I need to do tonight before I go to bed for the trip. So yeah, I'll be off tomorrow. We'll be back Saturday. Thanks so much, guys, for watching, commenting. Really appreciate it. Thanks especially to John Sanders for the 411 super chat. Thank you so much, John. Again, really, really appreciate these super chats. These YouTube ads pay nothing, so it's great that you guys are so willing to support the show. But yeah, have a good night, everyone, and I will be back on Saturday.